Hey there everybody, Jerry here from Android Central, and we're going to have a look at the X10 AirPad. It's a 7-inch tablet from X10, those people that brought us the little firecracker home automation kits so many moons ago. 7 inches, made of plastic, but very well built, I'll give them that. Nice and light, easy to hold. Not a lot going on as far as the hardware. You see here on the back, it's got a speaker that conveniently is in a spot that gets covered with your hands anytime you're holding it. So if you do buy this, invest in a pair of headphones. Up here on the top, you see that little hole? It is a microphone and a reset switch. You stick a pin or a paper clip and it reboots the computer, the tablet. I tried it to make sure it works. I've never had to use it to their credit, but it is there. On-off switch, like we see on any Android device. And here, that's not a volume switch, it's a menu switch and an escape switch. There are no keys on the bezel, or no buttons on the bezel, and it's not running honeycomb, so there's no back or menu buttons built into the software. Very handy, and we'll look at that in a second. Here on the end, your media card slot, HDMI out, headphone jack, those all work exactly as intended. There is your power supply input. It takes a little DC 5-volt charger, USB port, and a full-size USB host connector, which we'll also demo here shortly. Turn this thing back on. There's a little switch. We went out of there. I want to check the camera. There's no camera on the rear of the device, but there is a front-facing camera, and while Google Talk Chat, video chat, doesn't work, you could download Tango or Quick from the market. Those work just fine. Yes, it does have the full Android market. Notice there's no buttons of any kind. Nothing on the bezel, nothing in the software. So you would be kind of screwed if they didn't have a way for you to get out of here. Luckily, you move that switch one way and it brings up your menu. Move it the other way and it's a back button. So that works very well. While we're demoing stuff, I've got a little card reader here that I absconded from Phil. And we'll plug it in and give it a second and it'll just tell us up in the status bar that it's updating. There it goes. It found the media on the card, automatically mounts it if you use Ubuntu. Just like what happens when you plug a card reader into your desktop. Let's go in here to the File Explorer and it opens to the correct directory every time. But if we go up, we can see it's a folder marked USB and it mounts any media you stick on there. I've not been able to get this to work with a mouse or keyboard. That could be the mouse and the keyboard I'm using, so I'm not gonna blame the tablet for that. But if we go in here, these are just some wallpapers from the Galaxy S2 that I threw on for an example. It reads them just like any other local storage, because theoretically it is local storage the moment you plug it in. So you can see how that works, and we'll use this little switch and go back out of here. I love that switch. They ought to put it in everything. Now, the part that I don't much care for, there's no way to unmount it, and it warns you that you should have unmounted it, but they don't give you a method. And data loss, they always have to give you that warning. I've not seen it, but just telling you what it tells me. There's only so much you should expect out of a $199 tablet. This thing, like I said, it has a good screen. The viewing angle is pretty poor. If I have to look through the viewfinder or the camera, or I just see a black screen at this slight angle, me standing here behind the camera. But it has the full Android market. You can see I've installed some apps, Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, Gmail. They all work. They all work as intended. Games, it does okay. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz Rock chip CPU in it, and it handles most everything you throw at it. Not going to win any awards for OpenGL performance or anything, but hey, it's 200 bucks. You can't expect too much. But there is a problem, and let's have a look there. Go into the settings and go down here to About Device. You can see it's running Gingerbread 2.3.1. Not the latest version, but then again, how much do you expect? It's a $200 device. While that's a lot of money, we've got manufacturers making much more expensive devices, and they're not updating them yet either, so we shouldn't be too surprised here. But the kicker is this. You notice it's been off the charger for 1 hour and 7 minutes. More than likely, almost an hour of that was sit with the screen off. And then the next thing, and notice how low the battery is. The next thing to see is that top line says cell standby. Yeah, that's going to bring back flashbacks and misery for a lot of you guys that suffered through that with some of the phones out there with the bug in it. You know what, Samsung Moment, the Epic 4G. This thing has no cell radio in it. I don't know what it's trying to do. But whatever it's doing it constantly, and it eats the battery up. There is no airplane mode to put it into. There's nothing you can do. When you turn it on, it starts sucking the battery. They say it has a 4-hour battery life while you're using it on Wi-Fi. I have not even been able to use it actively for an hour. I mean, that's just the facts. You can see here, it just jumps down when you start using it. I mean, it jumps down bad. And there's nothing that can be done about it. If they would update the software for this, I would say, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into for a $200 tablet, I would say, yeah, go ahead and buy it. If you want something bare bones with USB host, something to fool with, go for it. But this way, I have to tell you, run. Just, you know, don't even look at it. Look elsewhere. I don't care where you look, but not at this, because unless you like living at the end of your charger, you're not going to have much enjoyment out of this. I really hope they get it fixed. And if they do, heck, we'll have a look at it again. I would love to, because $200, that's the right price. A lot of people would have a lot of fun with this for 200 bucks with the market. And like I said, it's built well, does most everything else correctly. In the meantime, we'll have to not recommend it. Well, next time we'll look at something else, I'm sure. In the meantime, you all have a good one. I am out of here.